Community. Thanks for joining us on this live YouTube Partners stream. This morning, I'm joined by Shani Kirk and Julia Muller, and we're excited to have a live question Q&A answer session with you guys today. And to start it off, I would like to introduce Shani Kirk.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shani, and I am the owner of Shani Kirk Marketing. I've been doing PPC for over 10 years. We got named Premier Partner this year, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys. Julia?
Hi, guys. My name is Julia. I work for Philly Marketing Labs. I am one of the AdWords experts present on the call today, and I am really looking forward to answering questions and doing this in this lively format today.
Awesome.
Mike, back to you.
Awesome. All right. So to get started off, we had some questions that were prearranged before the Hangout that we were going to answer live, but also on the community page, please feel free to join in and ask your questions so we can answer them live on the Hangout. But to get started off, a few questions if you wanted to take over, Shani, some of the questions you were asked prior to the event, or Julia. If not, I'm more than able to start it off.
Just go ahead and start asking questions.
All right, so the first question we had was for Shani, what type of businesses work best for PPC?
Oh, I think that almost any kind of business can work well for PPC. I love working with small businesses, entrepreneurs. Lead generation seems to work really well as e-commerce if you have a big store. But those two seem to be my favorites. Small businesses looking to drive leads and phone calls, like your local plumber or AC guy, or a big e-commerce store that's selling maybe knitting supplies or quilting supplies. It could be just about anything. What do you think, Julia?
Yeah, pretty much. AdWords is really a tool to capture search. So if your company potentially thinks that there is search for your product or service on Google search engine, then you can capture that search through PPC.
Yeah, I think that it levels the playing field a little bit for the little guys to be able to appear neck and neck with the big corporate brands. So they get to really compete on a playing field that wouldn't be available otherwise.
Exactly.
So would you both agree that basically anybody with a product or a service would be a pretty good candidate to try out the AdWords platform?
I do. I would say the only trick there is making sure that, and this is something I tell all my clients to set expectations ahead of time, make sure you have ample budget to get started. If you're only getting 1 or 2 clicks a day, it's really, really hard to optimize to get success. So that would be key to starting off on the right foot.
Okay, and that leads us into our next question. Have there been any industries personally that you guys have worked with that haven't been a great fit for the PPC model?
Julia, you have any?
Good question. There could be a case where I've been involved with a few where if budget is a concern, then PPC may be competing for other media that a business owner or the business marketing team prefers to target. And it's really the preference that the business has. In my experience, I really don't think that there should be a business out there that rules out search engine marketing as an option. But there are businesses who still do that. They are sometimes smaller businesses or businesses that had really negative experience before and failed so badly that they are afraid to try again. Yeah, so in those cases, it's really, the answer is not don't do PPC. The answer is proceed with caution. Try again and do this right, preferably with a Google partner agency, preferably with someone who you can tell has a track record of doing this right.
I would say too that there are specific industries that need an expert that is particular to that industry. Like I find car dealerships or a hotel chain or clothing and apparel seem to be such competitive industries. I like to refer those people to specialists that specialize in that industry. So I think that speaks to your point of finding the right person to do the job.
I think Mike can speak to the car industry.
Yes.
Those are some great answers, ladies. Yeah, definitely, what works well in one industry certainly isn't a good fit in the other, and we've seen that firsthand. I haven't really come across too many clients that I haven't felt would be, some sort of a good fit somewhere, either through display or remarketing or something. But one comes to mind. I had a client that was actually a quick story for you guys. They promote blogs, and they wanted us to promote their blog. And we thought that was interesting because they wanted, they're in the business of promoting blogs, and they asked us to promote their blog through AdWords. And we had set up every type of campaign. We utilized all ad extensions, and we just weren't getting a return. And their budget wasn't exactly something that was, I think was going to make an impact on AdWords. So we parted ways, and sometimes that does happen, but they're very rare in our case. So.
Oh, Mike, you actually reminded me of a story. A personal friend of mine, a celebrity chef, asked, a trending celebrity chef, asked me to help with PPC. And this is the case where the client's understanding of what PPC can achieve for them was a bit off. And what ended up happening there is basically I thought that YouTube, because they have a YouTube channel, and YouTube was video, AdWords video advertising was really the only thing that they could do in terms of AdWords impact, because it's also a very niche theme that they're targeting. So while they're doing social and other platform promotion, be that anything else but AdWords, in AdWords, it was only YouTube that applied. So there are cases like that when, for any particular client, not all the platforms will apply, or not all the campaign types.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we've got some questions from the community here. I'll start off. Either of you two want to take it? It's from Rick Lineback, and he asks, are there industry benchmarks as percentage of revenue to budget for AdWords?
Yes.
When I think about budgeting for AdWords, I don't look so much at percentage of revenue. First, I look at what is the average CPC, and then I try to make sure I get at least 10 to 20 clicks a day. That's if you're starting something new. So for example, if the average CPC is 10, then I need $100, $200 a day to make the campaign drive enough data. Now clients, on the other hand, they seem to have specific goals in mind of what makes them profitable. So if that's a CPA goal, I need my leads to be $50 a lead, or I need an ROAS of 10 to be profitable. That's a goal that you have to keep in mind as you're optimizing. I don't think it's stupid, though.
No, that's a great answer, Shani. Thank you.
I do recall also seeing somewhere a benchmark that a company's overall marketing budget should be about 20% of their revenue.
Okay.
So, as a starting point, but that's an overall, which is also split between various media.
Right.
Well, that's great. Also, just I recall a good rule of thumb when I was learning this is that you should take your highest CPC and times it by 10, and that would be a good starting budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the same as what I was saying, by 10 or 20, and try to find some place in the middle there. Yeah.
Great points though, Shani, about the CPA and stuff like that, because those are definitely variables that are different from each account. Okay, next question from the community. We got Ryan Gaddy, and Ryan's considering outsourcing his PLA shopping program, and he'd like to know what kind of questions should he be asking prospective agencies?
That's a good one. We've gotten really into PLAs more and more the last few months. I think you start seeing that ramp up toward the Christmas holidays. And I think that it is totally different than keyword search. And you have to have somebody that has a lot of time that knows how to drill down the campaigns to the item level and optimize it to your CPA or your ROAS goal. But you have to be in those every single day, massaging it, looking for, instead of looking for underperforming keywords, you're looking for underperforming items, and it's so complicated. It's fun, but it's very complicated, tedious, and time consuming.
Okay. All right. Would you like to add anything to that, Julia?
No, really, what I like to, I think what matters is to also talk to the agency and try to gauge their degree of expertise. They may be hidden all the KPI terms with you or via email. They may be feeding preset answers to you that they found on the internet, but may not necessarily have exactly shopping experience that applies. Now, it doesn't always apply to your sector, but you got to be you got to be mindful of the fact that that an agency will not disclose any kind of private information about their clients, yet they should be able to demonstrate their degree of expertise. They should be able to speak with you intelligently and answer any question and not say, we got to get back to you on this and that and also everything else.
You know what? You can also, a couple of easy checks would be to see if they're shopping certified. The shopping certification test is not difficult if you are working on PLAs every day. And the other great thing with the new partner, the partner profile portal, you can actually see how much you are managing a month. Like you can see that your average for the last 3 months was 70,000 or whatever, however much it was. So if you're looking for an expert and they've only managed $1,000 in the last 3 months, they're probably not an expert.
Although they may be hungry and want your business enough,
True.
Still give them a chance. I would still give them a chance, especially compare them to someone else, but don't just stop there.
Perfect. That's great. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Ryan. A couple more questions that we had prepared before here. I'll just hit you, Julia. It's what is the difference between performance and brand awareness campaigns, and which type of advertiser do they work for?
Performance campaigns is a term that is a little bit misleading. As we refer to performance campaigns within AdWords, we always mean campaigns that track conversions and optimize the conversions. But that said, does not mean that the other campaigns are not performance-based. So say an example, a brand awareness campaign is not necessarily referred to as a performance campaign. However, it's very much based on the key performance indicators and optimized around them. So an example of a performance campaign would be when a business is tracking a lead. Well, they're tracking their prospect through the sales funnel, from being a prospect to converting to a lead, then converting into a sale. So therefore, you have tracking capability in place where you can tell that a click converted into a lead. Mm-hmm. That's the performance campaign. And possibly with a little bit more data manipulation, you also track them through to a sale, and then you can optimize around your sales and return on that spend. Now, performance versus everything else is where, say, brand awareness campaigns come in play, and those campaigns may be tracking also some performance indicators as per advertisers' preferences. They could be coupon downloads, they could be visits through multiple pages, or sticking around on the advertiser website long enough to consider them interested. And those performance indicators are also to be optimized around. Mm-hmm. And what was the second part, Mike, of the question?
The second part is which type of advertisers do they work for?
Oh, which type of advertisers? I've seen both advertisers, small and big, do both type of campaigns. I noticed that maybe larger brands, maybe nationally recognized manufacturers who do not necessarily retail their product, they could be more into brand awareness. Smaller campaigns, more locally based, smaller advertisers, more locally based, regional advertisers, they may be more into performance because they're optimized. They would prefer to have, let's say, call conversions be their main target, and they would optimize around those. But again, both types of campaigns would work for both types of advertisers.
Okay, that's great answers. One more question from the community here is from Anthony. Anthony is a fresh graduate majoring in communication, and he'd like to know, are there any sources to learn more about digital marketing like big data, SEO, etc.? Because as a language student, he wants to know more about the tools to help us, and what are the tools? So any of you want to take this one?
If that's asking on an SEO perspective, that's really not my specialty. Mine's more PPC, but it's still similar. Like when we started, there weren't really great, you had to figure it out on your own. There weren't classes or courses to take and really learn how to optimize. You ended up building your own process. But now I would say joining the community, the forum, there's so many smart people there to ask a million questions to you and have a sounding board for any ideas that you have. Basically, you got to get your feet wet, jump in, don't be scared, and just learn. Find a mentor and learn from them.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. Julia, yourself?
Yeah, a few favorite resources. I love Search Engine Journal. Read that a little too much, I think. Search Engine Roundtable, another one. Let's see, there's a few others. I mean, they come through easily. They're recognized, PPC Chat, they're recognized resources that if you do a search for PPC, or if you do Google Alerts that come to your inbox for AdWords or PPC, pretty soon, within weeks, Anthony, you'll be able to tell who is the recognized authority, a trending authority, a new authority, or somebody personable enough for you to probably reach out and connect, and or become someone to become your mentor, someone to, you know, also someone who you prefer personally, whose style you prefer personally.
I agree. I do the Google Alerts too, and you do see like there's certain articles or writers that you just prefer. But I would say read everything. Read everything you can get your hands on. Get different perspectives on things, and just start forming your own opinions.
Oh, and I forgot maybe to mention a few Googlers that are, you know, my preferred sources, or that kind of through the years of doing this kind of stuck in my mind, and I'm sure there's more, and I apologize if I don't mention everybody, but to me, Frederick Valais is one of the utmost authorities in PPC, in AdWords. Avinash Kushik, if I pronounced the last name correctly, in SEO. A few others. If I think of any others, I'll post in the community here in the follow-up comments.
Yeah, if you're not a big reader, I'd also encourage you to, if you're in the Google Partners portal, to check out, I think they just launched this recently, where you can go through step by step and watch videos to prepare for your exam. Also go to the Google Partners YouTube channel. There's some great playlists there for, like, if you want to take any certifications, there's some really good resources in there as well. So if you're not a reader and you're a watcher like me, then you can do the best of both. So hope that answers your question, Anthony. Okay, moving right along. We've got about 40 minutes left, and we've got a couple more questions here. One is for the both of you. If you could share an example of when AdWords didn't work for a client. I think we've already covered that. So I'll just move on from that one. Have you used Google Partner Connect events successfully to get any new business?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
I think those are a great way to show your knowledge and support for AdWords, and then also have the team from Google come in live with your audience, and it's almost interactive, and it feels like they're part of the Google experience. We take a lot of time to make sure we set them up to be a nice event with some type of catering and food and networking for all the people that come to the event, so they can talk to each other and network with each other, and it's not just a hard hitting sales event. That seems to work really well, and we seem to close a few every time.
Yeah, I can say personally as well, it definitely puts you not on a pedestal, but it gives you credibility when your local community business owners come in and you're sharing an event hosted by Google. You don't have to say a lot. I mean, there's a lot of questions that come from that directly, organically, you might say.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. They're fun events.
They are certainly fun. They're a little bit out of the ordinary routine, which is welcome when you spend hours and hours looking at PPC campaigns every day. I personally, I've switched teams recently, so I can speak about a smaller local marketing agency versus a national marketing agency, which I don't have Google Partner Connective experience with the last team, the team that I'm with now. But with a smaller marketing agency, more local, we had amazing results, usually with Google Partner Connect. First off, when we started running them, they weren't really producing much. They were keeping us informed and ready to answer questions and ready to speak to our community intelligently, but they weren't really producing much demand. And then as we continued trying over and over again, because they come every 3 months, we seemed to pick up more and more in attendance every time. And the last one was basically, the last one I was involved with was basically sold out before we started advertising for it.
Wow.
Let's call it sold out. It's not really, it's a free event, but it's in terms of we overbooked in terms of the seats we had available. So keep at it. Google Partners Connect, I think, could be a great tool, but you've got to make it work for you. And it's certainly, as Mike mentioned, and Shani, it certainly adds credibility to your already available expertise, but also it enhances and almost endorses you as a Google partner, and allows you to speak with more authority and allows you to kind of cut through the clutter and say, I do know what I'm talking about.
Great. Okay, so we've got some more questions from the community. And if you guys are watching live right now, please, we encourage you to post any questions on here and we'll do our best to get to them live. If not, we will do our best to get to them after the presentation. So here's one from Andrew Halfman. Is there any update on Google Grants Pro eligibility? Recently, I heard the Ad Grants team is no longer accepting Grants Pro applications. Do any of you want to take this one?
I've heard the same thing, that they're not accepting Grants Pro applications at the moment. When you go to the landing page to look at it, it says that they may start accepting them again in the future, but right now it says that they're not. I haven't heard an official word from an actual Googler on it though. Have you, Julia?
I haven't. I did hear and see the same thing come through, that Google Grants Pro is pretty much on hold as of this point. Mm-hmm. I am not, however, specializing in Google Grants programs for AdWords, and I don't have accounts that are the nonprofit accounts. Maybe we can bring one of the experts who specialize in that and have them answer those questions later in the community.
We can reference Robert Coates in on this after and answer your question offline, Andrew, if you're okay with that. Okay, another question here. This one's a little more broad. It's from Roth Productions, and they ask, are there any possibilities to align an ad campaign to specifically address customers on a B2B level? So far, Google AdWords appears to be, to me, rather as a tool for B2C marketing.
Oh, I would totally disagree. We have many B2B clients, software companies that are B2B. We've had cleaning companies that are B2B. I mean, the list could go on and on. I have a microscope company that's B2B or B to education or university. And it works great. It's great for those industries as well. When they have a need or a product, a training company that does, like Apple training or IBM training, it's definitely great for B2B. Absolutely.
We're doing a campaign right now for a major CAPS convention up here in Edmonton, and we're specifically targeting B2B for this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to think about B2B in the B2C terms. Just think about the B2B employees. They are people just like the consumer. They Google everything. Even though they have other channels that they explore for the B2B sourcing, they still Google things. So they will still type in whatever it is, the service or the product that you're offering, and you want to be, on the first search page. You also want to appeal to their emotional human being nature with a rational message, a rational B2B message of, because they still make those decisions as humans, those purchasing decisions. They still want a quality product or, a low price product or a product that is maybe endorsed by the peers in their sector. So it's still the same play. B2B in my mind is very much the same play as B2C.
I agree.
And I think I actually had a few clients that would compete in the B2B sector sometimes while being a B2C company. It has happened. Now, of course, you got to be careful to delineate those campaigns from each other, but it has happened.
Okay, and that great answers, ladies. Thank you. Mohammed asks, will Facebook and Google ever come together for the sake of marketers? It would be so easy to just use one platform. I agree, Mohammed, but I can't foresee that happening anytime soon. Maybe you ladies have some insight. I don't.
I don't know that that's going to happen either. I would love it too. I use Facebook and Instagram with many clients. But I always prefer AdWords. I think it's so much easier to use. The customer service is basically non-existent on Facebook, so it has more challenges. If it had the AdWords platform, I think we could really optimize those campaigns a little bit better. But no, for now, I think you're going to have to still invest a broad spectrum of all the different types of media that your budget would allow.
So
it makes it tough for them to do so. Google is a search engine. Facebook is an ecosystem that's not very much a pull but a push system. So meaning in Google, on the Google search engine, you search for something and you get served with an ad. In Facebook, you don't search for whatever it is that you're getting served with. You're targeted by demographics, you're targeted by your behavior profile or whatever it might be. So it might be tough for them to come together as one, even though in the ideal world,
Google Display Network and Facebook, the same sort of thing. I like to compare them to newspaper ads. It's a newspaper ad. You're not really actively searching for that product. You're doing something else, and you see it. And it may work, may not work. Display, I love. It would be cool to have additional demographic features in Google Display, that some of those options that are in Facebook. But
nice.
Yes, it would.
It'd be also nice if Facebook could adopt AdWords, interface and AdWords stellar customer service record.
Okay. And conversion tracking. Their conversion tracking is so tricky over there. It's so easy on AdWords.
And the Google Partners platform is just a little bit better. I'm biased, of course. All right. So we've got another question from the community. Great questions, you guys. We really appreciate this. Without your questions, we would have had a lot quieter of a session. So Kajal is asking, if someone is planning to market a blog online that is purely informational, would you recommend AdWords? And if yes, what budget could be suitable for a starter?
Mike, you want to answer that one?
Sorry, yes, I can definitely take that one on. I would definitely recommend AdWords in the sense if you are trying to get your content out there. For a suitable starter package with content pieces, usually if you start off with $10 to $20 a day and just kind of feel at the performance after a couple of days, you'll find a happy spot for the budget. Generally speaking, I would probably take blog promotional to like display marketing, remarketing. I don't know about the standard text-based ads. I haven't done a lot myself, and I haven't seen a lot of success with clients who have tried that. But certainly, depending on your industry and what you're blogging about, that would definitely change the circumstances.
Gmail might work well for that too.
Yeah, Gmail's really good for the contextual part, absolutely. And it's cheap, right? So, all right. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry if it didn't. Farhad asks, what are the advantages of AdWords over DoubleClick, and which one is better for agencies looking to target Fortune 500s?
Interesting. I haven't been a DoubleClick user so far. I'm one of those old school people that work all of my AdWords campaigns manually. Everything is 100% manual, no bid software, no automation at all. So I just haven't gotten into DoubleClick or any of the other ones that I've tested. So, Julia, do y'all use it?
Neither. No DoubleClick experience aside of theoretical knowledge. No.
We're DoubleClick certified here, and I've not used anything since. It's a little bit cumbersome in the beginning when you transition from the AdWords UI, but I can assure you, once you make the transition, you will never look back. It is, in my opinion, second to none as far as measuring and setting up campaigns. It's really easy to do in there once you know how to work your way around it. There's tons of support, and just with DoubleClick, if you do, let's say, a lot of industries, they have lots of good templates in there to get you started from other agencies that have set up campaigns. So there's a shared library in there that we utilize quite a bit. But it's preference, really. At the end of the day, if you're more comfortable managing in the AdWords dashboard, then by all means.
Mike, and so for which one is better to target Fortune 500 companies?
In my opinion, DoubleClick. All day, just with the native aspect. The targeting options in there are a little more robust. Like Jarrell says, it is a little more expensive, but I do believe if you're targeting Fortune 500s, that is the only way to go.
Interesting.
Hope that answers your question, Jarrell. All right. I had a few more questions that we had prepared for this Hangout, so we can just jump into those if you guys are okay with that. There was one, I think, from Eric Cohen. Julie had brought up to me. It looked like it was getting some action there about what are messaging extensions and how do they work. So I would just like to take a couple minutes and share with you. They are really new. They just come out of beta, so bear with me. But basically, in essence, they're going to help advertisers capture more real estate on the ad in mobile SERPs. But it's important to bid high and have a high quality score to be in the prime positions required for these extensions to even show up. So if you don't have those, it doesn't matter. You have to have those in place for it to show up. The great thing about these ads is it doesn't matter if you're a one-man band or a multinational. Providing the ads are eligible to show these extensions, anyone can get leads or requests for more information sent directly via text message now. The bad thing about these extensions is that at present, there's no conversion tracking available. You'll be able to see clicks on the extension in AdWords, but there's no way of determining whether these clicks resulted in conversions. If these ad extensions prove to be a popular way for users to get in touch, you could end up seeing a drop in your other conversion rate as they move away from using click to call or visiting your website. You could see your overall conversions drop off in reporting because they're not reporting the message extensions. So just something to be aware of. Like, don't panic if you're setting these up and then 2 weeks in, you notice that your overall conversions in the column have gone down, but you can see the clicks up here and your clients telling you that we're getting like 6-7 texts a day. Clearly, it's working then.
Okay.
To complete this ad, you're going to need 25 characters for your business name. That's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to need a text phone number. That's the phone number that people will be sending text to. And the only requirement here is that the number can receive SMS text messages. So also there's an extension text that comes with this. This is the text that will appear alongside your ad. It's a good idea to make it obvious in the call to action that clicking will text the business. So include text us or message us in the ad copy. They also provide message text. So after a user clicks on your extension, Google will populate a message in their text field on their native messaging app. You can customize this to say whatever you like, whether it's prompting users request further information or to inquire about booking a service. Try to make the copy as relevant as possible. If you're selling tickets for Donny Osmond at the London Apollo, it's a good idea to include this so that the user has confirmation they're getting in touch about the right thing. Some advanced tips with these that we've seen so far. There was a question from the community if you could use third-party text applications, and so far, yes, we haven't had any problems with that. As with other extensions, you can set the times and dates that you wish for the extensions to show. This is very important, particularly if your ads run all hours and days of the week. It's pretty unlikely that you or your customer service team will be available to respond around the clock. So advertisers can set up scheduling around your business hours for that. Or if you're crazy like me and you don't sleep much, you can run those hours late in the night and early in the morning as well. All right. Also, obviously your landline won't work, but you're welcome to use any texting solution your company currently uses, whether that's a sophisticated SMS system or your personal cell phone number. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell right now. A couple things that I would also recommend is to match your click-to-message ads to a campaign or even an ad group's theme. So like make them tightly themed. A relevant message extensions are more likely to drive people to send you an actual message. So also use a local number. I find local numbers are a little more trusting. They also indicate that you're nearby, which can increase relevance and their trust with your brand. That's pretty much it for that explanation. I hope that answers your question. Would you ladies like to add anything or ask me anything further about those?
Mike, to clarify, so there's only one phone number that you can send those text messages to in terms of routing from AdWords. So they're coming to just one phone number. So if you have a few people answering those messages, is that easy to do?
Well, so no, there is one dedicated line. So for an example, if you're an auto dealership and you have a service department and you have a sales department and you have ad extensions that you want to go just texting to the service department to book their appointment, or if you want somebody to set up a test drive, you can actually set those separately up with two phone numbers. So one would go to your service campaign manager and one would go to the sales team on the floor.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
Yeah, and that's a really good way of breaking up your campaigns. So you wouldn't think one size fits all here. You'd want to really tightly theme those to your ad groups.
Yes, the reason I brought this up to you because I saw a lot of chatter, but it wasn't necessarily in our advertising community. I saw a lot of chatter because it's just coming out of beta, and I remember you bringing up that you have quite a bit of experience and success with it now. So thank you very much, because it was a little bit of a black box for me.
Yeah, we got to try it out in beta, so we got to iron out some wrinkles for everybody, we'll say. So a few more questions from the community here. If you'd like to wrap up the last 20 minutes here, we've got Farhas would like to know, what would you say is the most hype up sales pitch to get a customer? I'm not sure how to answer that one.
That's a good question. What the hyped up sales pitch? Usually, I try to avoid a hyped up sales pitch. I think the way that I pitch is, let me review your account. Let me take a look at what you're working with, and let me see if I can identify areas that I can improve upon it. A lot of, there's occasions where I look at it and I go, this is awesome. This is great the way you have it. I'd be scared to touch and move it around because it looks so good. But a lot of times I can see ways that things that weren't thought of, things that could be improved, overspending on keywords that aren't converting, just different things you can give them specific advice specific to their campaign and show your expertise. I try to do that over a sales pitch per se.
That's a really good point. And Julia?
Good one, Shani, because I am actually the person to ask for a hyped up answer. And that's probably why I'm not in sales. I am so always excited about AdWords platform, about the efficiency of it, about its capabilities, features, its evolving nature, that I am the one to say there is no reason that you cannot succeed with AdWords. But then, of course, one thing is saying that, another thing is delivering on that. So I try not to get involved with hyping it up too much. And just as Shani says, I try to get involved with looking at the data and deciding from there, and not, delivering hyped up promises which may or may not be able to come through.
No, I am a firm believer in setting expectations up front, and you do not overpromise and underdeliver. That is not how you retain clients and keep them long term. You have to set reasonable expectations of how long it's going to take for them to see success and how you will continuously optimize to improve after that. I think honesty and being upright up front is key to building your credibility.
Great answers. Farhad, more specifically, would like to get client to advertise on the search engine. I would encourage you to check out the Google Partner pitch decks. There's some great material in there. You just have to throw your logo on it and send it to the client. It does a lot of the speaking for you. That's pretty hype right there. We try to live by a motto, and to each their own, but it's to under promise and over deliver. And I think that's what keeps you staying in power is, staying humble. If you're good at something, I think the client will know right away. It's not a matter of trying to hype them up and get them to like you, because there's this big disappointment that takes place after, right? So we try to just manage, like Shani said, manage the expectations and make sure that we're on point with the goal objectives.
I think I recently saw in the community, Spencer posted a link to the entire library of the pitch decks. So we'll repost it here for you, and you can see how to set the tone when selling AdWords. It will help you because it is guided by Google, so it'll help you set the tone. It'll help you keep it down and not overpromise.
Yeah, and just be good at what you do. If you deliver and email people, and when they return their emails and you respond and you do a good job, eventually the sales part tends to be less important of a role, because you'll start getting referrals and you'll start building a reputation, and people know you for you, and they know that you're trustworthy. And we still prospect every day, though. Don't get me wrong. We still are looking out there for people that need our service, but more often than not, we're getting referrals these days.
Perfect. All right, next question is from Astridon. When using AdWords broad match modifier, I noticed the landing page quality score is always very low. Any tips on this?
I'm gonna be rogue here and say I hate broad match modifier. I don't use it. I don't like it. I think I'm a broad match girl. I pick a few broad match keywords. I don't go crazy with a huge list of keywords, and I start optimizing a negative keyword list strongly. So I'm not your girl there for broad match. Modifier, I don't love it at all.
Interesting, because this is the one of the very few cases when I disagree with Shani. We usually are always preaching the same. I have had lots of success with broad match. I had campaigns 90% skewed between 7 and 10 quality score with predominantly broad match.
Broad match or broad match modified?
I'm sorry, broad match modified. I'm sorry, because I do not use broad match at all. So did I understand the question correctly? Broad match modified is the question. Okay, so yeah, the BMM, because it's so long to say always. So the broad match modified, I actually like it. I use it. I advise to use it, and I think I certainly have had a lot of success with it.
Do you have any tips specifically on raising the landing page quality score? Or have you seen any instances from using it where your quality score was really low on the landing page, and what did you do to correct it?
Oh, I see. Well, this could be the case of me working with exceptional landing pages. Can I speak to the experience where I worked with a company that worked on not only the PPC campaigns for the clients, but also building their websites and building their landing pages. So this is the experience where landing pages were exceptional to begin with. I mean, they were leading edge, really advanced for their sector. For the advertiser also, we usually took an advertiser website that was a little bit subpar, or stuck in the 2 years ago or 5 years ago time frame, and took it and brought it forward to the modern technology, the modern age of mobile first thinking, etc. And quality scores is where the quality scores for the landing page were improved drastically, but they weren't improved by the BMM use. The BMM use happened concurrently. They may have been improved more by redoing the landing pages.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good answer. I was just going to add to that, if, for example, if you have the broad match keyword hot dog, only searches for the word hot dog will factor into the quality score, even with the modifier. So like if you did a search for Chicago style hot dog, it would not factor into the quality score for the broad match keyword hot dog, if that makes sense. It would just take in the original term. For the landing page, certainly there is a bit of a gray zone as far as how to increase that with broad match. But we'd certainly like to answer that offline after this, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think it could be a discussion, a lengthy discussion of its own, and we could take that in the community afterwards.
Yeah, that might be a bit lengthier one. Okay, so we've also got a question from Benjamin Rosenthal. He asks, are you aware of the recent keyword display targeting settings and changes, and can give your thoughts about this? Display keyword targeting now acts similar to interest targeting.
Yes. Yes, that it was in beta for 4 years, and finally, and we've been using it for 4 years, and it's had 3 different names. And I love it, and I use it. Like I said, I've been using it for 4 years over the traditional display, and it makes so much more sense because it basically is like remarketing for people who have not been to your site. And so you're capturing all these people that have a history of searching for your keywords and then showing them ads. So it's really awesome. I love it. I use it. It converts very well, much better than standard display.
We love it too.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. I think it's just an additional targeting feature. And it takes it a little bit further in terms of being able to target a little bit better. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Torino asks, since the ban of short-term finance, what are the restrictions besides APR representations for those trying to run affiliate offers with actual lenders or any other affiliate marketer needs? That's a good question.
We've worked with lenders, and like mortgage lenders or title loan or that sort of thing. And I think that the biggest thing of getting your ad approved is you have to have an address and contact information and be a legitimate company and not just an online presence. You have to have a way to contact you. I think too, if you work with your Google rep, they will help you get approved. We have very often, when I'm in a gray industry that I'm not sure is going to pass policy, I go straight to my Google rep with the landing pages and say, hey, what can we do? Will this pass? And if not, what do we need to do to make it pass? And it might be adding a disclaimer. It's often been make sure your address is there, a phone number, contact information, but there's usually a way to get it done.
And that's on the landing page, right?
Yes, on the landing page.
Yeah, I think, and in terms of copy, just, be careful what you, being careful about overpromising again, I guess, if I can say it that way. if you have an offer starting at a certain APR, you know, you don't have to put a disclaimer that now you're talking about someone with a higher credit score who will qualify or not qualify for this APR. But starting at or from might work, might pass through the policy team. But again, you know, do reach out to Google or your agency rep and find out whether or not this is an advisable practice before you get your ads disapproved or account suspended, etc. Before you do that, reach out to the source,
Yeah,
or to one of the Google partners, you know, who have experience with it.
you definitely want to be proactive, and that way you're not wasting your client's time, your time, getting anybody's hopes up. You're just making sure that everything passes the test before you launch the campaign. So much easier.
Awesome. Okay, another question here we've got from Lazio is, which is a good landing page web shop? So I'm thinking he wants websites. So a couple that we use here is Lead Pages and Unbounce. I don't know what you guys are using at your agencies, but if you want to share that.
We've seen, usually it's on our client side and not our side, where they're using a different landing page. Unbounce is one that they use all the time. Optimizer, another one. HubSpot. There seems to be a few out there. I don't have a preference of one over another. I don't create landing pages, so I've never had a problem with it integrating into conversion tracking or causing problems with any of them. They all seem good.
Okay.
Yeah, from theoretical experience, me too. I don't really have experience using the third-party providers. I do like Unbounce, Lead Pages. I do like an industry leader who happens to, you know, also educate you about how to set up your landing page. What are the important elements? How to track the goals, etc. As opposed to a third-party provider that may be affordable, but not necessarily offering a product that's at the top of its game.
Okay.
So, you know, what I mean is look for a third-party provider offering those landing pages that is also has an active blog, also seems to have established credibility in the space. That's what I mean.
Awesome. All right, we're just going to wrap this up. We've got about 7-8 minutes left. I've got another question from the community from Can. Can would like to know how one can run AdWords campaigns on Google Shop, which I think he's referring to the shopping campaigns. So I answered it on chat, just letting him know that first and foremost, you need a Google Merchant Center. But if you guys would like to add anything else to that, please do.
Right. I mean, that's the tricky part, is getting your merchant feed set up correctly and having your descriptions descriptive enough where it's actually going to gain impressions and show. Once our merchant center's done, it's pretty simple to just select, when you're going through the campaign setup, just select that you would like a shopping campaign. It's step by step. Super easy to set up. The trick is optimizing it once it's set up and watching down to the item level, and like we talked about earlier, and really bidding on each individual item and making little groups. It gets very fun and tedious, but the setup part of it's a piece of cake.
I agree with Shani. Yeah, the setup is easy, and the only difference between the shopping campaign and search is really the merchant center setup. You need to have your data clean and regularly update the data if you want it to be relevant. And then, yeah, the hard part is optimizing it afterwards. I don't currently work on shopping campaigns with my new team. We have a lot of shopping campaigns in-house, but I'm not the manager on them.
I would say also, if you're starting out and you're new, something to keep in mind is that they do have to update every 30 days. So have that automatic push of the data feed so that your ads don't just randomly stop and you have 0 impressions all of a sudden. It used to, when they first came out, that happened all the time. You're seeing that less and less now. So hopefully everybody's catching on that you want some type of automated push.
Okay. Perfect.
Great point.
All right. I had a couple questions come in from Twitter. I will try my best to answer them real quick here. How come my Lightbox ads are not getting any impressions even though I set them up in the display network only? That's an easy one for me. Lightbox ads have to be set up as drive engagements. So chances are it's just in your settings. You've got it set up wrong. I've done this 100 times. So that's an easy one for me. In your marketing objective, just go to the settings. And no other ones besides drive engagements are going to work, unfortunately, if you're using Lightbox. Also, do all placements show Lightbox ads, and is there a way to find out which ones? No, as a short answer, and there's really no tool or resource that we have as advertisers to find out beforehand what placements will accept Lightbox. That's something you're definitely going to have to call Google support and have their probably level 2 team look into. We've had to do that a couple times. Hope that answers your questions. Okay, anything?
A lot of good questions today, a lot of good questions. This is amazing. I'm so happy that we have so much participation today.
Yeah, I was a little blown away by all the questions, and thank you guys very much. It's what makes these sessions so valuable. It was great sharing the space with you, Shani and Julia, today. If you guys have anything else to add, I would just like to wrap it up and let everybody know we will answer all unanswered questions on the Google community.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
See you online.